Hey, welcome to Zero Impact on Infinity. I'm sitting on the Zezere. It's a boiling hot day today. I have been in the water, it's freezing. And I suppose I need to do money part 2. Which, to be honest, after like half a carafe of wine for like €2 and a giant bowl of soup, I don't feel like doing, frankly. And the thing about money is that the first part is really easy, right? I can just talk, general things, but when you get into specifics of money, that's when it all starts to come apart. Hang on, I'm just moving forward too much. So how do you go deeper with money? I've been trying to sit here, think before I even spoke to you about what am I even trying to say? And I can't, it's really difficult. I can't, we all know that greed is like running the world at the minute. We all know that these entities that are corporates are not paying tax and getting away, and people being really happy about this in the corporate world. And yet a corporate is nothing but an entity, like a fake entity, a made up entity. And it's all so bizarre, isn't it? But then how can I talk about that? Because I don't sit on a board and I'm not particularly greedy. But I have had this most amazing life, so I also can't really talk about poverty, because I've never been hungry. But at the same time, I can't ignore poverty because it's in my world, as in the world that we all live in. So what do? Maybe I can micro it today, talk about money in terms of me. So I've had this very privileged life, travelled the world via my father, went to boarding school, was probably one of the poorest at boarding school, which I know sounds mad, but it's all perception really. But again, had this most amazing VIP life, so getting on flights to exotic places, in the summer, paid for by the company. So I've been in debt since I was 18 years old. My dad was in Malaysia, and I was out there with my sister and my boyfriend at the time. And there was my dad paid for me and my sister to scuba dive, learn to scuba dive. What an amazing opportunity! So obviously we did it, and we were off Borneo, and we basically learnt to scuba dive. And then this guy said there's this island called Sipadan but you have to take a boat to it, and you really should dive it. It's the most amazing, it's a mushroom island, and it just drops thousands of feet all the way around, so you just see the most amazing sea life because it's the island in the middle of nowhere. And so I was like, okay. So I took my credit card and I paid for my sister and my boyfriend at the time, and off we went. And I must have been 18, 19, something like that. And that was it. I was in debt from that moment on up until maybe a couple of years ago, when I bought a flat in Brighton and I sold it, and it looks like I'm about to go back in debt again. There you go. So it's all really weird, isn't it, to have money and yet to blow money. I can't, it's very difficult for me because I came up with a father who always said he didn't have money, and he didn't. He wasn't loaded, but the idea that we didn't have money was also really strange. So when everyone said I can't do something, I would think, well, I'm going to fucking well do it and pay for anyone who's with me to do it as well. And I suppose that's how I got in debt, and I don't know to this day whether that is a good thing, because it's a good thing in terms of the experiences I had that if I hadn't have taken in that moment with that credit card, I wouldn't have had. So I would have been really careful, and then what? I don't know. Then what? Would I have been happier now? Would I not? Because at the end of the day, you are going to die, aren't you? And I know people who pursue money and die with lots of it, but it seems a ridiculously crazy thing for me. And yet, to have been this privileged and end up with no money feels incredibly irresponsible. You know, to have what is classed as education, opportunity, a way to get money to start something or whatever, and to, I don't know, I suppose some people would call it squandering. It's very hard for me to say I squandered, because they were always calculated risks, and they were always amazing things that had led me to be here with the mentality that I have, and I guess the expansion that I feel that I've given myself. And who knows, I guess no one's going to know that till the end, whether that alba did a clever thing or not. And also I didn't have children, so, you know, the risk itself wasn't massive. So where was it born from? I mean, I have a lot of pride around money. No one's ever paid for me. My dad gave me £2,000 once because I couldn't afford the masters that I'd put myself on, and then about 20 years later asked for it back. So I have a massive pride around money. You're lucky if you ever get to pay for me, because I just don't let it happen. So that's odd too, right? That's quite a hard stance. But then also, you know, it comes round to being a woman, and this freedom that I've been able to enjoy and explore has only been because I've had money, and no reason to have to marry. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that all marriage is based on that, but you know, there's a point at which it's like I feel the male thing of providing all the time. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I feel the pressure. I've watched the pressure of that. And that's also horrific. That's equally horrific. So, yeah, money's really, really complicated. And here I find myself very prideful about it. So very respectful of, you know, being able to have been free at this time as a woman, and really because of money. I can't, without money, you know, this life that I've had wouldn't have existed. This independence that I've had wouldn't have existed. And I look around at the women who have worked and have money, and their independence is unequaled in our history. So it has immense gravitas, and that's good. But I also see that my pride is, whereas I think I wouldn't have said I have pride when it comes to being paid for, or yeah, I find that horrific. So it's complicated. Being a man having to provide is horrific, and being a woman without money is horrific. So is this the patriarchy that shoves us into these roles? I don't know. I suspect it is, actually. And if you're lucky enough to be in a partnership of sharing, regardless of if one is earning and one is doing something else to provide a life, that's an amazing thing. But there's rarely this balance. Money rarely creates this balance. So yeah, that's part 2. I don't know if that's been any use, and I'm definitely going to have to go a bit deeper with part 3, which, you know, which worries me a bit. But anyway, I'm going to give it a go. So I hope you enjoyed this week. Have a great week, and goodbye from the river.